Welcome back to another episode. And again, we are going to be talking about relationships. Specifically, I want to go over the post that I made about relationship myths and facts. I thought that it was a really good one. I created that word by word, so I really hope you guys liked it. So some of the things that we talked about in facts were that men actually take relationship obstacles or conflicts a lot harder than women. And a lot of girls and women out there are probably like, yeah, okay, whatever. But the reality is that when we talked about this in a previous episode, we talked about how men have this perfectionistic tendency that they try to live up to, right? I am trying to do my best. And they feel just as much when they feel like they are failing in a relationship. And I think that that's something that we as women have to give and acknowledge because it'll help the relationship a lot better. One of the other topics that I thought was really important too was the friendship one. Friendship in relationships is like having a golden ticket. You have to have a friendship in order to have a really good relationship. That's just a fact. You know, there's been a lot of like men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We're so different when in fact we're all human and we're not really that different, especially when it comes to love. We're very similar in those senses. We want love, we want affection, we want honesty, we want loyalty. And this is something that we have to remind ourselves of. Some of the myths that I want to talk to you about are that arguments are normal, even loud arguments, even arguments where there's cursing sometimes, as long as you're not being disrespectful to the person name calling, are actually very normal. And even research shows that this is something that old couples that have been together for very long report even still having well into old age. It's a good sign, like I said before, of healthy conflict resolution and that you guys can get through it. There was another myth that was called, you don't need to know everything about your partner. Now, this is a myth because, yes, you're not going to know everything about a person. You're not going to know everything about your partner. But the more that you do know about your partner, the more of a friendship you guys have and the more you can relate to them. When you know their inner thoughts, when you know their likings, when you know what they want, when you know what their dreams are, when you know what they aspire to. This is all really helpful in getting to know yourself. There is a book called The Seven Principles of Marriage, I believe. It's a book by Gottman, and we know he's like the guru in the field. And he actually has a lot of really good questions that you and your partner can go through to get to know one another. Asking questions about, what's your favorite food? What's your favorite color? What do you want to be? What did you want to be when you were little? This really just gives us more insight into that person. And these are really important concepts that I want you guys to remember. Last two myths that I want to talk to you about are the fact that you don't always have to demonstrate love. Saying it should be enough. And the second one is that, that all conflicts don't need to be resolved. Okay. So these are myths. The truth behind the two actually are, you do have to show outward signs of love. Saying I love you is not enough. It's the little things. It's demonstration. It's cuddling. It's nurturing. It shows in our brains that, after lovemaking, sit there, hug each other, wrap yourselves around each other. This actually increases, these beautiful neurotransmitters in your brains, and it makes the connection stronger between two individuals. And people sometimes fail to realize that you get into a role, you get into a custom, and you forget that these little things are important. Now, the last one is that conflicts don't need to always be resolved. Okay. This is a fact. You're not going to resolve every conflict. Sometimes you're going to have to come to a happy medium. And sometimes in relationships, we think that if we haven't resolved a conflict, then we haven't gotten anything, or we have to come back to this. Now, if it's a conflict that's very important, obviously you want to address it. But there's going to be some conflicts that you just do not win. For example, I realize that there's stuff that I do that my husband realizes, you know what, there's no point in arguing with her anymore about it because that's who she is. Same with me. There's certain things that he does that annoy me or bother me. And I have come to realize that that is just who he is. That conflict is not going to be resolved. We pick and we choose our battles. And it makes for a happier marriage. So these were some myths and facts, and I hope that you got some good intel from this. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, don't forget, drop a comment, DM, let me know, email me. It can be anonymous, sort of, you know. But yeah, let me know. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to hopefully help you and your partners have better relationships. I'll see you soon.